So this study looked at elite perceptions of the US in Asia and Europe, and what we did was to reach out to elites in 4 principal sectors: the public sector, the private sector, media, and think tanks, academia, and ask them a couple of questions. First of all, how did they personally see the United States? And secondly, what formed their views? Was it the president? Was it policy? Was it historical policy? And then we took the answers to those editorials and brought them together with some of the extensive polling that takes place and tried to understand what was the difference between elites and the general public. And we found a number of really interesting things. To give you an example, we found that elites in Europe are very focused on America's values, and they remember America's values with great fondness. And this dates back really to American historical policy. This dates back to World War II. This dates back to the Marshall Plan. If you looked at the elites in Asia, however, they not only did they not value American values, they termed it American ideology, they actually were rather worried about American ideology. What they cared about is America's hard power. They cared deeply that America's hard power was still in Asia and could be brought to bear on threats in Asia. Again, going back to this idea of values in Europe, was this idea that America would return to being a moral leader. And there was this real sense that in recent years, the examples often brought up were Guantanamo, Iraq, Afghanistan. America had lost that moral leadership. And what was most interesting, there's a real hope that America would regain that. One of the most important factors, again, both in Asia and in Europe, was people dismissed the government quite a lot. They didn't see the government as a positive in the United States. But entrepreneurship, business, innovators, hugely positive in the United States. And so there's a message there about government and others supporting the extension of innovation, the extension of American business overseas. Another factor that was hugely important in affecting how people saw the United States was ability to engage with Americans, engage with America. So that says something for America's visa policy and the need really to promote the ability of people from outside the United States, particularly those who don't necessarily have a glowing view of the United States, into the US. If you're talking about policy, the fact that Europeans look at America's domestic policy and global policy, whereas Asians look at America's local policy, that changes, therefore, how America uses its tools, its military, far more important in Asia, far more important to realize that local policy is important in Asia, whereas to recognize that in Europe, actually, because there are so many policy tools globally, that there's a much more breadth to how Europeans see America, and therefore much more nuance to how you can change those views. So real policy outcomes from some of these findings.